Thank you everybody for dialing in. We're still waiting for some people to arrive. What I'd like to do is, first of all, I'd like to ask nearly everybody to take your video monitor off. We're going to have a lot of people on the session today, and the more video monitors we have going, the more bandwidth the meeting consumes. So I would appreciate that.
What do you mean stop? Like, so put my picture back up? Is that what you mean?
You're a speaker, Dr. Brown. You're okay.
Oh, okay.
The people that are not speaking, I would respectfully ask you turn your video off if that's okay.
Is it okay just to have the picture up, or do you want it to just have our name?
No, the picture's fine.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mark, am I in? This is Mia.
Hi, Mia. Yes, you are in.
Okay. I don't
How are
see
you guys?
myself. I don't see myself. I guess I'm somewhere.
That's because there are well over 100 participants at the
All right.
I guess.
You may have to scroll, Mia.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. I'm so glad there's a number of students.
It is great. Thank you all very, very much for joining us this morning.
Good to be here.
Yes, thank you.
Great. Well, my name is Mark Johnson. I'm the Executive Director of Marketing, Communication, and Public Relations for the Peralta Community College District. Welcome. It is fantastic to have you here. We're here to talk for the first Peralta Community College District virtual town hall meeting in the context of COVID-19. The session is, how does COVID-19 impact my classes? We have a number of esteemed colleagues that are here to speak with you today. It includes Dr. Regina Stanback Stroud, who is the Chancellor of the Peralta Community College District, Dr. Donald Moore, who is the President of the District Academic Senate, Dr. Jennifer Shanowski, who is the President of the Peralta Federation of Teachers, Dr. Siri Brown, who is the Vice-Chancellor of Academic Affairs and Student Success, and Dr. Mia Kelly, who is the head of the Peralta Health Services. And with that, I'm going to advance the slide and ask that Chancellor Stanback Stroud, if you would like to give a welcoming message, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Mark, and welcome to all of the students who are on this forum as we try to figure out our next steps in light of the pandemic. Our hope as we host this virtual forum is that we, excuse me, that we provide some clarity to some of the questions you may have on your mind. You probably have questions around your classes, what classes will continue. You probably have questions around whether you can withdraw, registration type questions, and we're hoping to be able to provide some clarity on that, as well as give you an opportunity to ask us questions. You're going to hear from Dr. Brown on those issues. You'll also hear from Dr. Kelly about the particular health services that are available. And then, of course, the faculty leadership, Dr. Moore and Dr. Shanowski, will take an opportunity to address you as well. Right now, we are following the shelter-in-place order. And even yesterday, there was an even more restrictive order that was issued. And in doing so, that means we will not be back on campus, on the campuses before June 30th. And the reality is we don't know what is to come. We will be continuing to follow those guidelines. So more information will come out and we will adjust it accordingly. So right now we know that we will be off of the campuses until June 30th, though there may be some exceptions depending on what's allowed on the order, with the order as it relates to specific types of programs. And then, of course, I just want to close my welcoming comments by saying that it is our goal, in order to continue the mission of the institution. We want to have institutional continuity. We want you to have academic continuity. So we are, while this is maybe a disruption, our hope is that we do all that we can in order for it not to become a barrier to you reaching your educational goals. So with that, we'll let the forum proceed. Hopefully you get a lot of information. When you have questions, please enter them in the chat line, and the moderator will get your questions. And if we don't get an opportunity to answer your questions during this forum, we certainly will be following up with a frequently asked questions or FAQ type document. And many of the resources that you'll hear about and answers to questions will be posted on our website. We are developing the safe.peralta.edu, safe.peralta.edu website that will have a hub place there for students to be able to click on and get many of the answers to the questions that you may have. And of course, know that that is in the development since the beginning of this responding to the pandemic. So we will constantly be populating it. And the more questions you have, the more information we will be able to gather and garner and put on that site. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Mark to have a successful forum. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Chancellor. I'd like to invite Dr. Donald Moore to say a few words.
Dr. Moore may have to unmute himself.
Let's see. Dr. Moore?
Okay, good. Hello. Thank you. Thank you, Mark, for
I'm going to mute all. Oh, just a second, Donald. There you go.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Donald Moore. I'm the president of the District Academic Senate that deals with academic and professional matters for all of our instructors. Welcome, and I hope that this morning provides you with the information that you're looking for. Everybody's here ready to answer any of your questions. I know many of you have been concerned over this to try to make sure that this semester that everything can go as good as you need it to in order to get the classes completed. And for those of you who are moving on to four-year institutions or getting your certificate or your degree, that this doesn't interrupt it. So we're here to provide you with information. The faculty have been busy working on preparing for you on the 6th. And they'll get into it a little bit more in terms of discussion about what they've been doing. And I know many of you have had very, very trying times. I have had students contacting me indicating their difficulty with trying to continue with the courses because they've lost their 2 or 3 jobs that they've had, and they're trying to make ends meet, and there's a hyper concerned about whether it's the rent, whether it's the family members. So all of that we are hearing as faculty members. And so our faculty are going to be in touch with you, and we look to seeing how we can help you get through this trying time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moore. Is Dr. Jennifer Shanowski on the line?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I apologize that I'm not there on video. I'm having internet trouble. It seems to be more common these days. Good morning to all of the students. I just want to start by thanking all of the students for joining us this morning and having this discussion around how the next few weeks and months are going to look in Peralta. I really would like to say that I hope everyone is safe, healthy, and figuring out a way to find their bearings in this new reality. I think for me, I'm trying to figure out what my new normal is going to look like. And I'm grateful that all of the students that are here on this town hall call are including Peralta in their vision of new normal. My name is Jennifer Shinofsky. I'm president of the Peralta Federation of Teachers. We're the union that represents all of the faculty within the district. We have about 1,000 unit members. These are instructors, counselors, librarians, nurses, and our mental health specialists. Normally, our job as a teachers union is to negotiate new contracts and ensure that our current agreements are enforced. We generally work with the district administration on things like fair wages, benefits, and job security. And we also work on working conditions for faculty, knowing that those teacher working conditions are really student learning conditions. And in these times, there's no difference in that. It's really more apparent now than ever that that is true, and we are all trying to find our way to a new teaching and learning reality. While faculty are working really hard to figure out what barriers exist, and we are trying to understand how we can work with the district to minimize those barriers, because the barriers that we have to teaching are going to be barriers for all of you to learning. We're doing our best to make a positive out of a really difficult, uncertain situation. Faculty are working hard right now to move their work, both instruction and student services, to an online platform. This is going to mean different things for different classes and will be left up to the discretion of the instructor, just like it would be for your face-to-face class. I would ask all of you for understanding, considerate feedback, and patience with all of this. I think all three of those things will be instrumental to everyone's success. And when we help faculty be successful, they can better help you all be successful in your courses. Thank you again for joining us, and thank you for your continued commitment to your education and to Peralta Colleges.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Shinofsky. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Siri Brown, who is the Vice-Chancellor of Academic Affairs and Student Services. She's going to talk about COVID-19 and the impact on services for you. Dr. Brown.
Good morning, students. It's really great to be here today, virtually, to talk to you. And hopefully I'll be able to answer some of the concerns and questions that you might have about your classes and about the student support services that you're used to accessing on the college campus. But first, let me echo the sentiments expressed earlier that I really hope that you and your family are safe and healthy, and that we do understand that these are very trying times for many of our students. This is why over the last few weeks, faculty, staff, and administration have been working very hard to put all services remote so that students can continue to access the kinds of services that you're used to in a face-to-face environment. So a lot of work has gone on, and a lot of work will continue to make sure that we provide as close to 100% continuity as possible for the remainder of this spring semester. So I first want to start by reminding you that classes resume this coming Monday, April 6th. And this is important for students to know, so that you log into Canvas, or you or your faculty have communicated with each other so you know how the teacher is teaching for the rest of the semester. If you have any challenges contacting a faculty or just get confused along the way, know that we have a number of resources that help students. If you go to the peralta.edu website and click on the top banner, it'll take you directly to safe.peralta.edu. And there is a link there for Student Resources Hubs. And in there, there's information about how to access Canvas, which is our online learning platform that many of the faculty will be transitioning to. So it'll teach you how to access Canvas if you've never done it before, some tips to be successful for being a student and learning remotely. It'll give you access to the phone number that you can call. That's 24/7 help for the Canvas related online learning issues that you may experience. And so definitely take a look at that page, safe.peralta.edu, because it will help answer some of the questions and help give you resources and tips to be successful in your online class. Now, some of you are probably thinking about your career education classes or your what we call activity classes. The career education classes like dental assisting, nursing, machine technology, auto body, and you're thinking, well, how can this class go online? Well, the faculty, to give them real applause for this, they have been thinking outside the box and sharing lots of resources and making videotapes and taking photos and preparing. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them are preparing to teach April 6th online. And so you might be surprised and you'll find some really interesting, innovative ways that faculty are doing this. That includes virtual labs for science faculty and other forms of remote teaching. So don't think that just because I'm in a dance class that normally would meet face-to-face, that class is going to cancel. Because actually dance faculty, physical education faculty, etc., have made videotapes and have converted the learning to a format where you can do it in your own household and with your cell phone. So, so note that, of course, that it doesn't mean that every student is going to be able to continue. We know that some of you may have challenges to having internet right now. We know that some of you may have challenges to having a cell phone or having your cell phone on. We know that some of you may not have a laptop. So we know that there are still challenges. At safe.peralta.edu, there are resources about low cost and free internet and other options. So before you make a decision to drop your class, we really hope that you'll look at that page and explore what options there are so that you can continue your academic goals and complete this semester. If in the case that you have decided or you're contemplating that you cannot finish the semester, maybe you lost your job, you have children at home that you're homeschooling, you have elderly parents or people that you're giving care to, and it just seems difficult for you and you're concerned about your grades and it's just not going to work. We as an institution completely and totally understand that. And so we've made a number of adjustments to ensure that there are means possible for students to drop and not have it impact them negatively financially or academically. So I'm going to go through what the 3 options that are available are if it is that you have decided or are deciding to drop a course or sets of courses this semester. The first option is the EW grade. EW stands for excused withdrawal. And what this grade is it'll end up on your transcripts as exactly that, EW, but it has no negative bearing on your academic record. It's not calculated into your GPA, your grade point average. It's not, it doesn't affect your ability to repeat of course. It doesn't impact your academic standing for financial aid in what's called the Student Academic Progress Report. So, so if you decide to go in yourself into your student portal and drop your class, you will not get a W. Instead, you will get an EW. If you remember, or maybe you already know, a W grade does have an impact on a student's academic progress, but it'll default to an EW so that, again, there is no impact on your academic progress. So don't be concerned about going into your student portal and clicking drop, withdrawal, because it'll end up as an EW. If you have any more questions about the EW grade, it's on the website at safe.peralta.edu, a full description of it and an email address to email if you have any questions or clarity about it. In addition, there's a form if you want to request an EW grade. And this form is a fillable PDF form. You can complete that form, list the classes that you want to drop and receive an EW, whether that's all of your classes this spring or just one or two. Maybe you're thinking, I can continue with 2 of my classes, but I'm gonna have to drop one. You just list the class that you want the EW grade and submit the form to the email address on the form, and we'll process that form within 48 hours, and you'll receive an email back saying this has been processed and the EW grade is in place. So that's an important option, which is why I took a minute to go over it. And again, remember, there's more information about it at safe.peralta.edu. The next grade option is the pass, no pass. Students have asked about this, and students have even had petitions saying we want a blanket pass, no pass. But note that there are particularities about the pass, no pass grade option. And that is that not all classes have this option. This is because of state law. And know that not all of the UCs and CSUs will accept a pass, no pass grade. This is the important piece about pass, no pass. And this is why at this point, we are not doing a blanket pass, no pass option. If you are preparing to transfer, like many of you are, and you selected a pass option, it could be that the UC that you're striving to get into, or the CSU you're striving to get into, or the private college, whether in-state or out-of-state, it could be that that university will not accept that class. And so it's really important that if your class does have the pass, no pass option, that you first speak to your academic counselor, your academic advisor, get input from them so they can be sure to look up the class and you can make the most informed decision about whether or not you want that option. Remember, just to repeat, that not all classes have the pass, no pass option, so it is not available to everyone. The last grading option is the incomplete grade. An incomplete is where a faculty agrees and the student agrees. There's a form that both would sign off on, and that form would detail the assignments and readings, etc., that the student would need to complete. That form is then submitted, and it means that the student would get an I, letter I grade for incomplete on their transcript. A student then has up to a year to complete the I grade form, the information that you said you would finish. This may or may not be an option. This is dependent on what the faculty, how the faculty determine the amount of work that needs to be completed for the class, and whether or not the faculty chooses to enter into an incomplete contract. You can imagine now that there might be many students who want an incomplete, and a faculty will not be able to manage finalizing all the work throughout the next year for those students. So just like the pass, no pass, there are limitations to the incomplete option, and the incomplete is determined by the faculty member. They have to agree. So if you have questions about those 3 grading options, put them in the chat, go to safe.peralta.edu, or send an email and we will respond to your question. The last grading option is to continue in the class, work towards your A, B, C grade to successfully complete the class, knowing that if you continue this semester and you're getting a good grade and then things just get too difficult and it's May 1st and you just don't think you're going to be able to make it, know that you still have the option for the EW grade. The great thing about the EW grade option is that you have that option up to a complete year from now. So that might sound confusing, but you can go all the way through the semester, and it ends up that maybe you didn't pass that class because of the challenges related to COVID-19. You still can request the EW grade for spring 2020 because of the COVID-19 situation. Rules have been relaxed. EW grades always, you have a year to do it, but rules have been relaxed so that you don't have to provide any documentation. You just need to fill out the form. And we know that spring 2020 was the COVID-19, crisis that everyone was facing, and we'll process it. And this is, of course, applicable from March 10th to the rest of the semester. So now I'll go on and talk about some student services items. And in the last 2 weeks, this has actually been a piece that a lot of work has gone into from our classified professional staff, our faculty, and our administration to make sure that you have access to admissions and records, your academic counselor, mental health, student elections, all these things remotely. So while the colleges are closed for you to go face-to-face in person, we have now set up means for you to get the services, submit the papers, get feedback and get responses, and set up meetings remotely for the rest of the semester. So know that there is support and help out there. I'll go through each one of these items very briefly. The student elections, you will be receiving an announcement that the student elections date is forthcoming. The date was pushed back because of the crisis. However, we are fully engaging in student elections for your associated student government. This is a very important body that represents you. And I can really say that there are student government people in place right now that have really been advocating for student needs and communicating about what's happening with students. So your leadership is important, and we hope that you will vote. The voting will be done electronically like it has been done in the past several years, and you'll receive information through the Canvas banner, which gives announcements, as well as by email and text what the dates are for the elections. This election is also very important because there will be a referendum on this election ballot that impacts every single student. And that is that the Easy Pass AC Transit referendum is up for vote by students. The district does not decide whether or not the Easy Pass program should continue. Instead, it is up to the students to decide that. There is a small fee that students pay every time that they are in 6 or more units in a semester. That fee is going to go up, and we want students to be sure to look at the referendum, look at the increase in the fee. The fee is going up about $4. It's not much. It still means that you're saving literally hundreds of dollars every single semester if you ride AC Transit. It means you can still ride it 24/7. It still means that you can ride it in connections to other transit systems. So it's a great program, but we want students to weigh in on this referendum and decide, do we want to continue the Easy Pass AC Transit agreement and discounted pass for students? So please, please, we ask you to vote and to encourage the students in your class to vote, because the elections impact you directly. The next topic is academic counseling. All 4 of our colleges are prepared to provide academic counseling to you. They can give you academic counseling on the phone, they can give it to you by email, and they can give it to you by Zoom, like this forum. Each of the colleges have an email address or several email addresses for you to contact the general counseling office or a specific counselor. And those resources are located at safe.peralta.edu. They are also on each of the college websites. If you have any challenges contacting someone, again, reach out to us. So the counselors are ready and they're eager, and they've been already serving students remotely. Students have been calling, phone calls are being answered, messages are being returned. So contact your counselor and ask them the questions that you need to have answered about your transfer, about articulation, any kinds of things like that. Admissions and Records is also working remotely, and basically what this means is that if you have a form that you want to that you need to submit, or you're getting ready to apply for summer and fall, that all of that is ready for you to do remotely. from your phone, from a laptop, and you can call if you have challenges with any of those ways of accessing our services. Registration for summer and fall begins April 6th and continues beyond that. So be sure that if you have a form, you can go to safe.peralta.edu or peralta.edu, and there is an admissions and records link. You can link on that, and all the forms that students fill out have been made fillable PDFs that you can fill out and you can email it. Important is that those forms sometimes ask for your signature, but the campuses are prepared to accept your email with the form attached as a signature because of the crisis that's in front of us. So the campuses are also accepting a phone. You might take your phone and take a picture of the completed form that you filled out, with your pen. You can do that, and you can email it in to the appropriate place. So we're working to be as open and accessible as possible, knowing that there are limitations to how it is that you might submit the forms that you need. Again, if you have any challenges, please reach out to your campus or to the district offices. And for student accessibility services, it's the same thing. Your counselors are available to assist you, and you can email them and contact them in the same ways you have in the past, except of course remotely. And all faculty are working to make the online instruction accessible, and all faculty will respect your accommodations. It's the law. Faculty do it because they respect accessibility rights, and they will do the same thing that's been done face-to-face, like giving you time and a half on exam or extra time for assignments, whatever it is that your accommodation letters have documented. So this is important, where you should reach out to your teacher and remind them, let them know this is my accommodation. They also are being updated about what students receive accommodations, and that way we'll be sure to respect your accommodations so that you can successfully complete the semester this spring. And last, it's exciting and it's going to be different. All 4 of the colleges are looking at the first ever virtual graduations. I don't know what this looks like, but I know that there are other colleges around the state that are doing this, and they're doing them successfully, and it's fun and different. It does still highlight the student's degree and highlight a picture of you, and makes it personal. So look forward to more information about that. And if you're graduating, congratulations. And we'll look forward to being at your graduation services. So I hope I didn't miss anything. If I did, definitely put it in the chat, and we'll get back to you today, or we'll get back to you with an FAQ. And I wish you the best in health and success the rest of this semester and beyond. And please don't forget that if you do decide to discontinue this semester, next week you can just register for summer and fall and continue your academic dreams and keep your drive alive and moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to, and here is the schedule. I'm sorry, I didn't advance that when Dr. Brown was talking. The enrollment schedule is coming up with the first tier starting on April 6th and continuing on to open registration beginning on April 17th. And with that, I'd like to invite Dr. Mia Kelly to speak to you now. Dr. Kelly?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Am I on?
Good morning. They're all muted.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I hope that you're doing well, staying safe, and feeling encouraged. Many of you are already familiar with health services. However, for those of you that are not, each campus has a health clinic to serve students, for which you pay an $18 fee, and you can access a wide range of services in the clinics. Your records are kept confidential, and only the medical staff will have access. Some of the services that we provide include nurse practitioner, as well as RN services, medical supplies, over-the-counter medications, as well as prescription medications, Motrin, aspirin, antacids, anything you might need. We also have HIV testing, as well as TB testing, pap smears. Flu shots are seasonal. What is not covered are immunizations, except for the flu shot when it's available. The next slide, please. Some of the other services that we offer are mental health and crisis intervention. Some of you may be feeling particularly vulnerable during this time. There is counseling that is available for you at our clinic, the Roots Clinic, which is our affiliate clinical agency that we contract with. And if you have insurance, you're welcome to call, and they will prepare services for you, as well as anything that you might be concerned about. Difficult feelings, if you're sad, if you're feeling particularly stressed, if you're worrying, any kind of issues, relationship issues, Roots will be able to, the mental health clinic will be able to help you with that if you have insurance. Now, if you don't have insurance, there are some crisis numbers that we will provide for you on the Peralta website. The Alameda County Crisis Helpline is available for you, as well as the Berkeley Mental Health. And these numbers will be on the Peralta Health website, so that you can always have that support that you need. Additionally, the Roots Clinic will be providing family planning, health education, resource and referral services are particularly important, and labs. And the nurse practitioner or the registered nurse will inform you of the labs that Peralta will cover for you. The next slide, please. The Roots Clinic is located on 73rd and MacArthur in Oakland. The registered nurses and nurse practitioners are available to provide high quality medical services. You may recognize these two. These are our Laney practitioners, Gina and Candace, and they have served students at Laney for several years now. There will also be assistance with insurance needs. We have a health navigator on site who will direct you to Medi-Cal, Family Pact, Healthy Families during these campus closures. So as before mentioned, information and updates on all the services posted are on the Peralta College's health website. And I hope that you will access, so that if you're in need of any type of medical or mental health care, that you will be able to get the services that you need. All right, thank you.
Great, thank you, Dr. Kelly. So at this point, we've got about 23 minutes left for questions and answers. I'd like to start with a couple of questions, but before I do, I want to ask Chancellor Stanback Stroud if she'd like to make a statement at this time or wait until after the questions.
I will go ahead and make a statement right now, Mark, if that's okay.
Of course.
Just because I want to tag on to some of the things, the good information that Dr. Brown and Dr. Kelly provided. One of the things that Dr. Brown mentioned was that you may have problems with, accessing technology or broadband, those types of things. And she talked about some resources that were on the Student Hub around broadband. One of the things I do want to let the students know is that the district has made a purchase of about 9,000 Chromebooks, so we can make sure students who need to have access to technology can get it. We're in the process of working with the college administration right now in order to develop the process to get the resources distributed, perhaps in the same way in which you borrow a book from the library, but that'll be worked out. Of course, everybody is ordering Chromebooks and technology right now, so They've been able to fill the order for 1,000 of them, and then we're slated to get the other 8,000. But of course, you know, all of the companies are saying to us as you order things that to expect delays because of the pandemic right now. So as we get those resources, we will definitely make them available to the students. The other thing I just want to remind the students of is that you may get a request for you to complete a survey that identifies your technology needs. You may have even already gotten that request. If you get that request, please do complete that survey for us so we can gather as much information as possible and be able to anticipate your needs and making sure that you're able to continue your programs and services. And with that, that will be my closing remarks. You don't need to come back to me, Mark. And I just want to thank all of the students, and I want to thank the presenters for providing this valuable information. But I want to thank all of the students for attending, and then I'll be on the lookout for announcement for more virtual town halls as well, as so we can continue to answer the questions and provide the information that's needed for people to be able to continue their education at the same time of staying safe. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chancellor. I'd like to echo the thanks to the speakers. And also, I wanted to acknowledge the leadership of Dr. Tamil Gilkerson at Laney College, president at Laney College, and also to Dr. Timothy Karras, the president at College of Alameda, who worked very closely with us to organize this town hall meeting. So thank you very much to them. From the questions, boy, you all aren't shy, are you? There's plenty of questions that are coming in, and we deeply appreciate the questions, and we'll try and answer them as many as we can over the next 20 minutes or so. So the first question is from a nursing student, so maybe for you, Dr. Kelly, or for Dr. Brown. A couple of classes include in-person labs, and we're still waiting on the details of how those labs will go remotely. The question is, are we aware of how this will affect our future nursing applications? The majority of BSN programs do not accept online lab courses for their science prerequisites, but do have any, or is there any information about exceptions that might be made given the circumstances?
Dr. Kelly, you can go ahead and start and I can follow up.
Okay, well, I know that currently, so what I'm hearing you ask is, it's an application piece. Is that what I just heard you ask? I'm trying to get clarity on the question.
The majority of BSN programs, I'm afraid I don't have insight into what that stands for.
Bachelor of Science in Nursing, yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm understanding the question correctly, you're asking about the application process and the clinical process. And I know that currently, for example, the Merritt nursing program is waiting for direction from the Board of Registered Nursing in terms of how the clinical courses are going to be managed. And they are looking at alternatives to on-site clinical. So my understanding is at this point that completion of that is still pending. And my hope is that there will be some resolution around that pretty quickly, because I know that our graduating class is anxious about that. So as those answers become available, we will post them for you in the forum so that you can have access to the most current information.
Dr. Brown, did you want to follow up?
No, I think that was a great answer. Definitely students will be communicated with. This is, like Dr. Kelly said, an ongoing conversation between the state and the Board of Registered Nursing. And we are completely paying attention to it, and we'll have as much information as possible as it comes out.
Mark,
Great.
may I add something there?
Of course.
The student is absolutely right. The Board of Registered Nursing only allows 25% of the labs to be done in simulation. A number of CEOs across the state have sent a letter to the Board of Registered Nursing asking them to increase that to 50% so that we can do clinicals with simulation labs. The other thing is that the governor released a more restrictive stay-in-place order and released some guidelines around healthcare personnel, but the feedback to the governor was, he didn't go quite far enough because he left in place the decision up to the Board of Registered Nursing to make some decisions around the simulation labs. As long as that's in place, then the Board of Registered Nursing right now has chosen not to do anything. And so there is a pressure from the public to the governor for either the state to act or for them to have the Board of Registered Nursing to act, but for it to remain unacceptable for it to stay this way. So that's part of it. With regard to the transfer, the student is also right about the possibility of transferring and the impact it has on the reception of the lab classes. And so Dr. Brown's office is working with the different universities in terms of transfer to public universities in order to make sure that the student isn't adversely affected by that. And particularly, I know that she's had conversations with the UC system. So that is something we'll continue to work on. Students that want to transfer to a private institution or to an institution outside of the California public institutions, we may have to work with them one-on-one. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you, Chancellor. Next question we have is, I'm currently attending the Peralta Colleges and taking courses. Will I still be able to register for upcoming intersession and summer courses for online? If so, what are the dates for registration? So Dr. Brown had a slide on that we didn't spend a lot of time on. The answer is yes. And I've got the dates up for you. Enrollment opens on April 6th for our first tier of registrants and continues on so that open enrollment begins on Friday, April 17th.
And I want to jump in and just say that it's a great question to ask about intercession, because the intercession is definitely in place and will happen. And it begins early June and is a short term, right? It's 3 or 4 weeks. And that's a great option. Let's say that right now, you may be having a challenge meeting the requirements of one class and you decide to drop that class. Well, you can still pick up another class in the spring intercession. So it's a great option. We definitely want students to enroll for spring intercession and for summer and for fall. And like I said, continue your academic goals.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Next question, and this is sort of standard for a number of different questions. I've enrolled in a course that cannot be delivered or completed as originally planned because it includes field trips or lab work. Is it possible to drop the class and receive a full refund of registration fees?
At this point, we are not issuing refunds to students who select the EW grade. We are following the guidelines from the state about this. And again, it's another topic that we're paying attention to. As the weeks unfold, if there's new information, we will definitely share it with students.
Thank you very much. The next question is, are all face-to-face classes canceled?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, 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 no. Face-to-face classes have been working the last 2 weeks. Well, the teachers have, to convert them to remote online formats. And the majority of our classes are going to continue. You can reach out to your instructor, or they will be reaching out to you, and with the format that they are utilizing. And then you can go to safe.peralta.edu to get some tips on how to be successful for the rest of the semester. Classes are continuing.
Mark, may I add something to that?
Of course.
My suspicion is that the way the question is asked, they're asking, does it mean that there will be any classes that continue face-to-face? So Dr. Brown is exactly right. All of the classes that we have are being converted to online that can be, or remote strategies that can be converted. However, there may be some classes that are allowed to take place face-to-face if they meet what the governor has identified as the critical sector, preparing the critical sector personnel. That's healthcare personnel is a good example of that. Now, that that is, even more restrictions have been put out as of yesterday on that. So we are continuing to work on that. So there may be some classes that are held on campus depending on the shelter in place order and the nature of the class as to whether it fits into the essential sector. But in answering the question, in general, should you anticipate that you will be back on those campuses before June 30th? No. Instruction that continues will be converted to remote or online instruction. As we develop courses that will meet face-to-face, then we will be making that information available and known. But right now, we don't have courses that are that will meet face-to-face.
Thank you, Chancellor. I'm seeing a number of different questions that involve financial aid and what are the impacts of taking the different types of grade options that Dr. Brown had proposed, the incomplete or the withdrawal or the EW. Dr. Brown, do you want to talk about financial aid and the impact of those class options?
Yes. So if you and the faculty decide to get an incomplete, then there's no impact on your financial aid. If you, and you've talked to your counselor and you've made it, and your class offers the pass, no pass, and you pass the class, there's no impact on the EW grade. We have made a local decision that if you choose an EW this semester, that it will not impact your student academic progress. Normally what would happen is if you drop a class and get a W, it would impact your academic progress, and the next semester you could be on warning about that. But that won't happen this semester. However, there is a caveat, and that is that we're also paying close attention to the communications that are coming out from the Department of Education. Financial aid, as you know, is largely from the federal government. And so it could be that if you go below full-time, if you choose EWs and you go below the 12 units, that it might impact your financial aid. We're still waiting for more information about whether or not they're going to ease some of those restrictions, but we haven't received it yet. It could also impact your state aid. Again, we're still waiting to hear about any easing of restrictions. So the best way for you to find out for your unique individual situation is for you to email financial aid. They will respond to emails, or contact your academic counselor and ask your specific questions so that they can look up your specific financial aid package and how many units you're in, and you can explore those options. And as more information comes, it'll be on the safe.peralta.edu, and the financial aid officers, of course, will all know if there's any changes to what's happening. One last thing I can say is that all work-study students can continue. The federal government did allow that. They can continue through the rest of the term. And so that's one piece of good news if you're on work-study.
Thank you. Next question, is there a time limit on when students can request an EW?
There is a time limit. It's 1 year from now. So before the end of spring 2021, over a year from now, is when the student has the right to fill out the EW grade option. That is what the normal timeline is for EW grades. So know that you have plenty of time. Like I said earlier, you can start April 6th remotely, see how it goes. You can continue the class. Let's say that you just didn't do well because there's so many things happening at home because of the crisis, and you got a D in the class or an F in the class or an NP in the class and no pass. You can fill out the EW grade after the grade has been posted, and we will switch out that D or F or NP, and instead it will be an EW. That means the GPA that would be impacted by the D or the F will no longer affect your GPA because the EW has no grade impact. So there's a lot of flexibility, and that's why we're really encouraging you to try learning remotely beginning April 6th through the semester. Do the best that you can. Communicate with your teacher if you're having challenges. Reach out to the 24/7 online learning help number that's on safe.peralta.edu. And in worst case scenario, if you don't pass the class, you can do the EW grade in June, July, August, all the way up through spring 2021.
Thank you. There is a petition circulating requesting everything go to a pass, no pass. Can you comment on why that is not a desirable option for students?
Yes, a lot of students are asking this question, and I've seen 2 petitions asking us to do a blanket pass, no pass option. Because I think they're hearing that UC Berkeley did that. What UC Berkeley does is different than what the Peralta Community Colleges should do, and really what the rest of the community colleges in the state should do. If we were to do a blanket pass, no pass, it may negatively impact your ability to transfer. Because as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to transferring, the UCs and the CSUs do not accept all of the courses that a student took in their major or otherwise where a student received a P grade, a pass grade. So it isn't wise for us to do a blanket pass, no pass and give the students the perception that this is a way for them to continue on with their academic goals. The other reason is that the State Chancellor's Office advised the California community colleges not to do this for the very reason that I just stated. The State Chancellor's Office is in communication with the leadership of the California State Universities and the UCs about this, trying to advocate for our students in this crisis, but we have not gotten anything definitive except that the state has told us that it is not wise to do a blanket pass, no pass. One other reason is that if a student did take a pass option, then the automatic GPA calculation is a 2.0. Many of you are students with 3.0, 2.5, 2.7, 3.7 and higher GPAs, and you really don't want a 2.0 calculated into your GPA because it would impact your entire GPA. So at this time, we're following the state, and if we get new information about transfer and articulation, then we will communicate that out to students.
Thank you. Next question is, there are some classes that have been online only from the start. Do students in those classes still have the option to use an EW?
Yes, all students have the option for an EW grade, including those who started online and remain online. Because if you think about it, everyone, whether you are a fully online student already or not, is being impacted by the COVID-19 crisis, have children at home, lost jobs, etc. So you still have that option. The only students who don't have the option, I haven't mentioned this, is if you're a non-credit student. If you're taking non-credit, then getting a W or an EW has never been an option and still is not an option. Instead, there are 3 grading options. It's pass, no pass, or SP, satisfactory progress. And SP can be given by the faculty if they believe you've progressed enough and you've communicated to the teacher that I can't continue because of the challenges in my household right now. And it's between it's up to the faculty to determine whether they give you an SP or an NP or a P, or you continue the non-credit class and accept the grade there too. Non-credit classes are repeatable, so it's a whole different kind of category. But for online students who started online, yes, the EW grade is an option.
What about the classes that were supposed to start mid-March online, sort of those late start classes?
I don't know what the particular question is, but all classes resume April 6th. Those classes were the start date was pushed back so that we as an institution could get all of the services available to students. We didn't want those classes to continue without the mental health services, the financial aid, admissions or records, counseling available. What happens between a student with a student's experience is not just what's in the classroom, but it's all the other wraparound services that our institutions provide. So classes online, whether they started online or are now going to be online, all resume April 6th, this coming Monday.
Thank you. We have time for one more question. Will the next semester, whether it's summer or fall, will those classes be all online?
The decision for summer is still pending, and we will have communication out that very quickly. It's looking like the entire summer will be online as well, as everyone's paying attention to the news. And you'll hear a definitive communication about that very shortly. And in terms of fall, again, you'll have to wait for more communication. All of us are watching and paying attention to what the state is saying, what the county is saying, and dialoguing amongst ourselves about what is best for the institution in terms of safety for students, etc. So do like you've done, log into the future town halls, pay attention to safe.peralta.edu, watch your texts and your email addresses so that you can be informed. If you have not checked your peralta.edu email address, it's time to do that. And there are instructions about how to do that so that you can to make sure that you're getting all the information.
Mark, may I interject in as well?
Of course.
There are about 8 people who have their hands raised in the place where you raise your hand, and they're saying they can't get into the Zoom because the Zoom discussion is full. So I suspect that there are a couple of questions that you may get from them from that room as well. Do you have a way of being able to get to that room?
Yes, I've cleared it, and everybody should be in now.
Should be into what?
Into the main space, so they can
So
chat.
the people in the room that have their hands raised, if you could write your question into the chat, we could get those questions, and if we don't have time to answer them, then we will make sure that we'll follow up, get them in a frequently asked questions. Get them in a frequently asked questions and get them posted.
Great.
And then the other thing is that one of the questions is, will the semester be extended into June or past June? And right now we believe that the faculty and staff are going to be able to complete the semester within the calendar that we've negotiated. If we have to negotiate a different calendar, we will. But we believe that they would be able to complete it within this calendar.
Great, thank you very much, Chancellor. Some of the last questions that have come in is, will this town hall be posted? And the answer is yes, it will be available on the Peralta College's YouTube. And we will also be broadcasting it on a delay on the Peralta cable TV station, PCTV. Thank you very much for participating today. I want to thank our speakers again, Chancellor Stanback Stroud, Dr. Donald Moore, Dr. Jennifer Shinowski, Dr. Siri Brown, and Dr. Mia Kelly. Thank you all for participating, for the amazing questions. We've got a ton of questions that we didn't even have a chance to cover in our 1 hour today. We will be following up with answers to those questions in the form of an FAQ. And thank you very much. We really appreciate you.